Super Nintendo versus Sega Genesis. There's no better pair of things that the word versus has ever come between. It's truly a nostalgic battle. We were talking about it 20 years ago, and we're still talking about it today. So ever since I started doing the Nerd series, I always felt like it would make a great subject for a video, but I've always held back because I felt the whole thing is so much bigger than I am. How could I do it justice? To really do a proper analysis of both systems would take months and months of concentrating on just that. So the only thing I can give is an opinion. So I figured I might as well take the approach of just taking you back to the past, because that's what I do best. And there's no better way to go back to the past than to hear it from my past self at age 11. That's right, I already made a video about this topic. I might as well just sit back. Nintendo versus Genesis.
In the commercials they say that Genesis is better than Nintendo.
Where am I?
Like you see, this is Nintendo 8-bit.
I can't see a damn thing.
I'll turn that off if you don't mind.
Thank you.
Alright, now, so Genesis always brags about how good it is.
As you can tell, I'm talking about the Genesis commercials. I'm sure everybody's seen them by now, but if you haven't, here's a refresher.
Genesis does
16-bit arcade graphics.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does
16-bit sports action.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis does.
What Nintendo don't. By 16-bit Genesis.
Nintendo?
You can't do this on Nintendo, they said. Genesis does what Nintendo doesn't.
See, even as a kid, I couldn't bring myself to say Nintendo. But in hindsight, it was a great commercial. Just the fact that we're talking about it now means it really left an impression. It worked. I'm sure that commercial alone sold many Genesi Mega Drives. But back then, that commercial was the bane of my existence. How dare you talk about Nintendo like that? They took a cheap shot. I took it personal, as if one of my best friends just got bullied. So there I am, pissed off, making a video about it. I guess nothing's changed. So, little Jimmy, tell us why the Nintendo brand is better than Sega.
It has more games, like, wait a minute. Wait right there.
Okay.
Well, some pocket video games. Wait. Actually, this is from Tiger, but it got the ideas off of Nintendo's Simon Quest, and they got the
Wait. If we're talking about great classic games made by Nintendo, how about Super Mario Bros. 3 or something like that? But no, the Tiger handheld version of Simon's Quest? I still have it.
Nintendo has posters, like, here's a Nintendo poster.
Ah, take that, Sega. Nintendo's got posters.
And Nintendo has guidebooks.
You mean strategy guides?
Here, see Nintendo guidebooks?
Or Nintendo Power.
These are Nintendo characters. Look at these awesome labels for the controllers.
I still have those. And they are awesome.
The power gun allows you to shoot at characters on the Nintendo screen.
That's the zapper, but they should have called it the power gun, like the power glove and the power pad.
Well, the power pad.
Yeah, you got it.
Giant controller.
Okay, you got that? Reasons why Nintendo is better than Sega. Tiger handheld Simon's Quest, posters, guidebooks, characters, controller stickers, power gun, and power pad. Boom! In your face, Sega! Obviously, I was showing a lot of faith to the Nintendo brand. I was what you might call a fanboy. But in truth, I was envious over the 16-bit glory of the Genesis. The graphics they showed in that commercial, you couldn't do that on Nintendo.
Wrong. You can do that on Nintendo.
Oh yeah!
They invented a Super Nintendo with 16-bit graphics.
Now that's what we're talking about. The Super Nintendo felt like Nintendo's answer to Sega. But did the battle stop there? Nope, it only started.
In the commercials, they keep bragging about Genesis. They said that Genesis is even better than the Super Nintendo, but they're both 16-bit.
Sega had a point before, but now it's like a bully who's gonna pick on an even bigger kid.
The Sega Genesis has blast processing. Super Nintendo doesn't. So what's blast processing do?
It was ingenious! Blast processing! Every kid who saw that commercial remembered that term. Sega fanboys now had some new ammunition to use. So Sega's marketing team was like feeding all these arguments in the school cafeteria with like all these new words to use. I remember being on the school bus trying to tell one of my friends Super Nintendo's better, and he kept saying blast processing. It worked. The term caught on like wildfire. It worked so well that even to this day, we're still talking about it. The internet is a new playground to continue all these old arguments. It picked up just like before with everyone debating whether or not blast processing is real or not. I've seen it on message boards. It's real, it's not real, it's real, it's not real. What's the story? Well, I looked into it. According to the technical specs, the Genesis is faster. I can't find many great side-by-side comparisons to really demonstrate it. The Sonic the Hedgehog games seem to be the classic example. The term blast processing was made up for the commercial, because that sounds way cooler than just pointing out the facts. Imagine if the commercial said, the Sega Genesis has a 7.6 megahertz processor. The Super Nintendo, only 3.6. That's not as catchy. Commercials aren't about stating the facts. They're about just what are people going to remember. Say blast processing and every kid is going to start using it, even if they don't know what it means. Like I used to say bits all the time and I never knew what that meant. And it's hilarious that if you look at the rest of the specs, the Super Nintendo outshines the Genesis in almost every other detail, but they found that one thing to exploit, and that's the nature of marketing. One time I had a playful argument about chocolate milk. And this is two grown adults, I might add. I was working at a convenience store, and every day I'd drink this milk mixed with a chocolate mix, and my friend would always drink the regular chocolate milk out of the bottle. I told him mine was better, so we compared nutrition facts, and turns out mine had less sugar, more vitamins, and was better in just about every way, but his had a little more vitamin D in it. So every day then he would come into work, sipping his chocolate milk and go, "Love that vitamin D." Yeah, we got bored at work a lot. Also, notice the game they chose to make fun of was Super Mario Kart.
And what if you don't have blast processing?
Have you played Super Mario Kart? That's a great fun game. So they're comparing it to Sonic just to show how much faster the Genesis is. But what are we comparing here? Vertical speed versus straight on racing? It doesn't scroll as fast because it's a totally different kind of game. I'm looking into it way too deep, but the point is it's another marketing strategy. Make your product look as cool as possible and make the competitor look like crap. It's easy. I'm going to make my own Genesis commercial right now. Hey kid, you still playing that Super Nintendo? Look at what Sega Genesis has got. And Super Nintendo has got this. So what's the choice? That was fun. You see, you can make anything look as good or as crappy as you want. And I think as a kid, I saw that in the commercials, and I felt that these commercials were brainwashing other kids, and that's what pissed me off. I felt like it was just manipulating other kids to think whatever they wanted them to think. The whole blast processing thing was almost like an act of desperation from Sega, just trying to get through the point that the Genesis was better and using any tactics they could. Almost like me as a kid trying to defend the NES because of stickers on the controllers. So I was just trying to speak up how I felt and didn't really know how to.
Remember, when you play Nintendo, you're playing with power. When you play Game Boy, you're playing with portable power. When you play Super NES, you're playing with Ultra Power, and Genesis, no power.
Well, there you go. Now you got yourself a slogan. needs a little work, but you're thinking, or I'm still thinking, yeah, I've come a long way in being able to articulate myself, and I've never thought about it till now, but I think those Sega commercials played a part in teaching me how to edit, how to make videos, because when I'm doing a nerd video, for example, and I'm trying to tell you how bad the game is, I'm going to be selecting all the parts that are bad to show you, and if it's awesome, I'm going to show you all the parts that are good. So unless you see the original product for yourself, you can't really take an objective view, because that's the way the media is. It's always through someone's opinion. So who am I to make a judgment of Super Nintendo versus Sega Genesis? Have I really played enough of both consoles to really make a fair assessment? But hey, it's an opinion, and I gotta give you what you want. You click on a video that says Super Nintendo versus Sega Genesis, you're expecting a throwdown. So let the throwdown begin.